and Android.
Right now at 5, the mother of a daughter murdered in 1999 finds her quest for justice blocked.
And this morning, we're continuing the severe storm chances all day today and through the evening.
Plus, parts of the 4 states area are getting too much rain and experiencing flooding. There's more rain, of course, on the way.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5 a.m. I'm Elise Noe.
And I'm Lindsay Gaffney.
Yes, and so parts of the 4 states experienced flooding yesterday. Yes. I'm sure into this morning there were those storms.
Yeah, we have had a lot of storms already, and even through the weekend, we're going to have more flooding occurring due to how much rainfall we're getting with all these storms. Not to mention the other severe weather threats. Right now in the 4 states, we don't have as many storms going through. We had a few come in just right after midnight into about 1 a.m. And then we're having another round coming in right about 5 to 6 a.m. So within this next hour. But in Joplin currently, it's mostly cloudy. We've got some faster wind gusts up to 25, 30 miles per hour. Temperatures in the low 60s. So what you can expect today for severe weather threat, we have a very significant threat for hail. This is the hatch zone, so we are right in the middle of getting a lot of hail storms. Not to mention an elevated and enhanced risk for tornadoes. Elevated risk for all of the counties that are in the yellow, but if you look up in some of those northern counties, we see that enhanced risk, not to mention the little dashed lines. That's a hatch zone, so we're expecting some tornadoes, especially in the northern counties. And also, we have an elevated wind threat with some of these storms with those wind gusts being very quick. Now, we also have a few flood warnings and all ending at different times. The first one out in Anderson County issued until ending this morning, 7:45. And then out north of Nevada, that's in Vernon County, we've got a flood warning issued until Wednesday at midnight. And then the last flood warning issued in Jasper County until Saturday morning. So few flood regions in our area, and those will probably continue. We may see some more as we move into today and tomorrow. We've got another round of storms this evening and again Saturday evening. So a lot of rain coming in. We're watching a few storms right now. There's one that's barely missing us, but we're going to keep an eye on that. If you're in just north of Eureka, you could expect that stronger storm. They have a thunderstorm warning for that one as well. And then we have another storm moving in. That's looking like it's tracking straight through Pittsburgh. That's going to be coming in the next hour, so watch out for that. We don't have any thunderstorm warning for that yet, but we are going to watch it. Now, continuing on, if you look out in Oklahoma City, we've got another massive storm system, and they have a severe thunderstorm watch for their entire area. And we're going to keep an eye on this because these storms are starting to move north, so they may start to hit our area. We'll keep an eye on it and continue to update you as we move into the severe weather threat for today.
All right, thanks, Lindsay. We'll check in with you in just a bit. We're seeing flooding in a number of low-lying areas in the 4 states. Those include parts of Jasper and Lawrence counties in southwest Missouri, along with Cherokee and Crawford counties in Kansas. There's a lot of water over Kafer Road west of Missouri 43. Drivers there and elsewhere need to be cautious and might have to find alternate routes. The scene is similar in parts of southeast Kansas. This video of northeast Star Valley Road in Cherokee County, Kansas, where the roadway has turned into a waterway. Crawford County, Kansas is also dealing with some flooding. With all the rain, it's important to remember the old saying while driving, turn around, don't drown. And don't forget, you can be the first to know about the day's weather with the KOAM Skywatch weather app. Get severe weather updates sent straight to your phone free of charge. It's available in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store, the KOAM Skywatch weather app. The mother of a 1999 Welch, Oklahoma murder victim is advocating for justice, but it seems, at least for now, her push for reform is stalled. In 1999, Laura Bible and Ashley Freeman went missing, and Danny and Kathy Freeman were found dead. It wasn't until 2018 that a suspect, Ronnie Busick, was arrested. Busick pleaded guilty to an accessory to murder in the case and was sentenced to 10 years in prison with 5 years of probation. However, after 2.5 years, Busick was released. KOAM's Anthony Saviello has reactions from the family on the bill stalling.
Lorraine Bible, Laura's mother, saw Busick's early release as an injustice and sought change through Laura and Ashley's Law.
He was at the Freemans. He knew Danny and Kathy had been shot, the house set on fire. He watched them abduct the girls, bring them over here. He was part of this scene over here in this trailer where the girls were held. But, you know, there was no consequences other than a slap on the wrist, go in and spend 2 years, get your health good, and you're out back on the streets 20 miles from here.
The bill adds first and second degree accessory to murder to the list of crimes, mandating offenders to serve 85% of their prison sentence before being eligible for parole consideration. It passed the Oklahoma House in February, then passed the Senate Judiciary Committee on March 26th.
I knew that you could go to jail for 45 years and spend 85% of that time in jail because you were an accessory. Maybe you'd think twice. Or doing the part of the investigation, hey, here's the deal. If you talk and you help, you can get a lower sentence. If not, if you're straight up, Ronnie Busick wouldn't tell us nothing.
However, the bill was not heard on the Senate floor by its deadline, so it seems as though this is where the bill stops.
Now we're going to go back and look at the reform so that the wording is, we don't want people to be in prison longer than they need to be. But there's also, this isn't a slap on the wrist. This isn't somebody who went by and took $20 from you. This is somebody that watched people be murdered, girls be tortured, and did nothing.
Reporting in Ottawa County, Anthony Saviello, KOAM News.
Lorraine says she now has to refile for the bill to go through the whole process again. The bill will have to use different wording so as not to interfere with the Oklahoma prisoner reform. The fifth suspect has been arrested in the killings of 2 Kansas women found buried in rural Oklahoma earlier this month. The Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation said 31-year-old Paul Grice was arrested and taken to jail. He faces 2 counts of first-degree murder, 2 counts of kidnapping, and a count of conspiracy to commit first-degree murder. Authorities say Grice admitted to taking part in the planning and killing of 27-year-old Veronica Butler and 39-year-old Jillian Kelly. They say he also admitted to taking part in their burial in a cow pasture. 4 other suspects, including a married couple, have also each been charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder and other charges. That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes, coming up on the KOAM Morning News. Pitt State football team wraps up their final spring practice ahead of their annual spring game. We'll have the details. Plus, thousands of Jews gather to pray for Israeli hostages during a blessing at Jerusalem's Western Wall. And as thunderstorm chances continue, we'll have what to expect with Lindsay Gaffney in the Skywatch Weather Center. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back.
With windows for less. With springtime in mind, so is spring cleaning. With our double hung windows, if you want the best for less, call Windows for Less.
The Pitt State football team wraps up their final spring practice ahead of their annual spring game, which will be played tonight at Kearney Smith Stadium. Early yesterday morning, the Gorillas got to work in their indoor facility. Pitt State has held spring practices almost every day this past month. The players say they look forward for this opportunity and to even entertain the fans who plan to come out and watch the game tonight.
This season, got a new offense coaches, so it's been really exciting to get out here and learn the new offense and be with these new coaches, and I'm really excited how everything's coming together and really excited for tomorrow night.
During the spring, you kind of work out all the kinks and stuff like that, so it's really good. Instead of starting in fall camp, we get into spring and work out all the kinks.
Kansas City Royals wrap up their final home game of the homestand against the Toronto Blue Jays. The Royals can take the 4-game series with a win. Royals versus the Blue Jays. Bottom of the first inning, Salvador Perez hits this deep into the Royals bullpen, and that ball is gone. A 2-run home run puts Kansas City in front 2-0 in the second inning. Same score. Adam Frazier makes a diving catch in left field. Cole Reagans says, "Thank you very much." We head to the top of the 5th. Royals lead 2-1, and this might be one of the best catches we'll see all year. Kyle Isbell lays out the warning track to make an outstanding catch. Take a look at this again. Isbell has a great focus to reel that one in. From that moment on, the sky starts to open up and the rain continues through the day. After a 4-hour rain delay, the umpires finally call the game. Royals only play for a 5-inning, but that's enough to win this game 2-1. Well, how about this? In Wednesday night's Oklahoma City Thunder playoff game, a lucky fan is selected to make the shot of a lifetime, shooting all the way from half court, and he nails it. He walks away from last night's game with a $20,000 check. Can you believe that? Well, still to come, it's been 10 years since the water crisis in Flint, Michigan began, and the city still hasn't replaced all of its water pipes. Plus, a check of the 7-day forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns.
For big savings, thoughtful decision. Call us at Bath Naylor and Frisco Funeral Home.
All right, so this morning we've already had a few storms pass through right after midnight. Nothing too severe, but we did hear a lot of thunder. I know I got woken up and out in Joplin right now. This is 7th and Range Line. No rain yet, but we are tracking a storm that's moving through it in the next hour. Temperatures across the region, upper 50s, lower 60s. We are going to warm up today more than we did yesterday, but as of right now, nothing changed yet. We have a few flood warnings for the area on Anderson County. That's over here. We've got a flood warning issued just until this morning, about 7:45. And then out in Vernon County, there's a flood warning, long-term flood warning issued until Wednesday at midnight. And then again, we have another flood warning in Jasper County, just north of Joplin is where that flood is going to be expected to happen. That's issued until 7 in the morning tomorrow. Other than that, no severe storm threats yet. We do expect to have a few stronger to severe storms this morning, but main threat will still be for this afternoon. There's going to be only a few storms in the afternoon, but they will be strong to severe. Now we're tracking a few storms. We've got one that's passing. We had a lot of rain move through, but one just west of Nevada, that looks like it's going to be a little stronger. And then we had another, this was a thunderstorm warning just east of Wichita, may clip some of our counties in the north, but other than that, we're watching this storm. This one is looking like it will intensify, moving in the southern counties, and it's looking like it's going to track straight through Pittsburgh. So if you're in the Pittsburgh region, in the next hour, 30 minutes to an hour, we are expecting that storm to continue to pass through Pittsburgh and through the rest of the counties. Now, we're going to have a lot of rounds of storms this morning. We've got a few more, and the storms just south of Oklahoma City, we are expecting some of those to hit our counties as well, and they are under a severe thunderstorm watch issued until 8 a.m. this morning. So we're going to keep an eye on those storms and watch them. If they move into our area, we'll continue to alert as we see those storms intensify. Now, severe storms possible. Today, we have an elevated to enhanced risk for storms. Most of us in that elevated risk, but in a few of our northern counties, they are in an enhanced risk. Tomorrow, that is mostly an enhanced risk. We see it for most of our counties out in Kansas and Oklahoma, and a few of our northern Missouri counties, you're going to be under an enhanced risk. The rest of us just an elevated risk. And then Sunday, still an elevated risk. We are expecting a few more storms to come in Sunday night, and those could be strong to severe as well. Now, the threats we're expecting today, elevated risk for tornadoes, but like I said, if you look in those northern counties, we are seeing that enhanced risk and even a hatch zone. So we're going to keep an eye on the northern counties through this morning and this afternoon for any type of tornado development or funnel cloud development as well. Now, hail is going to be pretty significant. We also have that hatch zone across all of our counties for hail. So in any of these stronger to severe storms, we are expecting hail about golf ball size as a maximum, at least this morning, and that could become larger as we move into the evening storms. And then we also have an elevated wind threat for some of these stronger storms. We could see gusts up to 40 miles per hour. So a future track of all of these storms we're seeing, that one storm moving in, this is about 6:30 a.m. So in the next hour and a half, we're going to see it push into our central counties and then pass through the Joplin area. And it's going to stick around. We're going to get a lot of heavy rainfall in the Joplin area. And don't forget, we have a flood warning for Vernon County and for Jasper County. So they're getting a lot more rainfall again with this storm. And that's going to continue. This is 9 a.m. Still that line of storms that we see. We've got a few more moving in, stronger storms. So this is going to be later in the morning. This is about 11 a.m. We're still seeing that line of storms, but they're strengthening, and especially in the Joplin regions. We'll keep an eye on that. It'll start to move north and then start to shift off to the east. So this is right after noon today. We're still seeing some heavier rainfall patches and a few isolated thunderstorms that are going to be strong to the low end of severe weather threat. We'll keep an eye on it. And then after that, it'll start to shift out. And then this afternoon is when we're seeing that next round of severe storms. Now, they're not going to be as many as we saw this morning. It's just going to be a couple of severe storms, but with those storms, we are expecting that tornado threat. So here they start to come in. It's about 4:30 this afternoon, and as you can see, they're very strong. The line of storms are right behind the storms we got this morning. So then this is 5:30. We're going to start to see it shift into the Joplin area. 6:30, rain starts to move in, and then it'll continue on, and then we'll have some more southern counties getting some strong to severe storms, and this is all through the evening. Then we'll have a clearing, and then tomorrow we've got another round of storms moving in. So we have an alert day set for today, tomorrow, and on Sunday. With all of these severe threats, we are expecting some tornado development as well this afternoon, and maybe one or two later this morning, so we'll keep an eye on that. And then again tomorrow and even Sunday, we are expecting some more severe weather threats. Now, other than that, we've got a few more storms moving in Monday morning. It's the tail end of the storms on Sunday, so they'll clear out pretty early, and then we'll have a nice day on Monday. Tuesday, a few scattered showers, same on Wednesday, and then Thursday, another round of storms. Then we'll have a clearing for next weekend. So we have the alert day for this weekend. Keep an eye on our weather alerts and any updates that we have, and Lisa will be back with more news after this.
Be open 7 days a week and walk-ins are welcome.
Well, topping Health Watch this morning, it's been 10 years since the water crisis in Flint, Michigan began, and the city still hasn't replaced all of its water pipes. The problem started on April 25th back in 2014. That's when Flint switched its water supply from Lake Huron to Flint River. This switch caused distribution pipes to corrode and leach lead. Nearly 2 years later, then President Barack Obama declared a state of emergency. By then, more than 100,000 residents, including about 12,000 children, had been exposed to lead. More than 100 people died from Legionnaire's disease attributed to the water. Residents are still dealing with the health effects of that lead and bacteria exposure. Well, people in Arizona are training to help properly respond to calls involving people with autism. Steve Nielsen takes us there to learn more.
Is there a unit available for this check Wolper call holding on the stack?
817 Tom, I'm 17 that call.
In reference to a Hispanic or white male subject wearing a gray shirt, black shorts, acting erratic.
Phoenix police recruits in teams of 2 respond to the playground.
Hey buddy, what's going on? Phoenix Police Department, how you doing? You okay?
The subject they're talking to, Nicholas.
He loves playing video games, loves watching movie trailers. He just is just a great kid.
A proud dad.
You're doing great, bub. Here we go. Stand by.
Sergeant Francisco Valenzuela was put in charge of interpersonal communication training a few years ago, and a light bulb went off.
This is probably the most complex and the most realistic scenario that you're going to have here at the academy.
Using his son with autism as a real-life training scenario, it mimics real calls these recruits will respond to.
10-4802, Tom. Your call is going to be a check welfare.
I could tell immediately that he was autistic. I have an older sister with Down syndrome, so something I can process pretty quick.
Recruit Casey Bazil says they weren't told what to expect, and it was eye-opening for all of them.
Do you have any siblings?
No, I don't have any siblings.
No siblings? A lot of those calls kind of sound like someone using drugs at the park or someone just acting erratic, so you never really think that someone's just autistic going to that call.
Recruits kind of panic. Like, what do I do? The thing is, there's different avenues to get the solution. Their job is try to be critical thinkers and try to reunite Nicholas gets back with the parent.
Bazil said she learned a lot about his ID.
Go ahead and have them get that phone number a call and see what info they can get off of it. So I didn't really process what the necklace was until he handed it to me and I saw a phone number on the back.
Just making sure everything was okay. You know, there's nothing wrong with you being in the park.
Phoenix Police is currently under a Department of Justice investigation, including how officers handle mental and behavioral health calls.
Let's rewind. Let's hit the reset button.
After each scenario, Sergeant Valenzuela tells the recruits what they did right and wrong.
There's no better way to fully expose these recruits that are coming through than actual real life scenarios.
Bazil says this training will leave an impact on her.
It's something you never forget. So now when you go to that and you experience it, you know exactly what to do.
They've been doing this training since 2020. So that means hundreds of Phoenix police officers have trained with Nicholas.
And that's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
So we do have a few more storms moving in earlier today and through this evening. We're going to keep an eye on that and continue to track and update everybody as they continue through the area.
Going on now at Wayside Furniture, North Main and Fountain Road in Joplin.
Right now at 5:30, we'll meet a Joplin High School student joining a prestigious summer program through MIT.
We're tracking a few storms moving through right now, and they're going to continue to early morning hours and another round moving in late this afternoon.
Plus, the Ladies' Night in Miami, Oklahoma raises spirits and funds for a good cause.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5:30. I'm Elise Noe.
And I'm Lindsay Gaffney.
As it's Friday here in the 4 states, and we're already tracking strong to severe thunderstorms in our area.
Yeah, those will continue till late this morning, and then we've got another round this afternoon. But let's take a look outside. We've got temperatures in the low 60s, so no rain right now in the Joplin area, but they will start to move in. We've got a few storms tracking straight towards Joplin, so we'll keep an eye on that as well. We've got wind gusts right now up to about 25 miles per hour, but in some of these stronger storms, we are going to see wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour, and some of the more stronger to low-end severe storms as well. We'll see good visibility out in Joplin right now, and it is pretty cloudy as well. Clearly, we've got all these storms going on. Now, what you can expect today, we've got a significant threat for hail. This morning, hail up to about an inch, but we could see even golf ball sized hail. That threat will increase as we move into the afternoon, though. And then we also have wind threats this morning up to 60 miles per hour. Now, there is a tornado threat. It is an elevated threat for most of our counties, but in some of our northern counties, about an enhanced threat with that hatch zone as well. So we are going to expect a tornado or two today, but the main threat still is going to stick to the afternoon, but can't rule it out for later this morning either. We've got a few flood warnings as well out in Jasper County, Vernon County, and Anderson County. And the Vernon County flood threat warning is issued until Wednesday. So the rest of us just getting flood until the next day or two through all these storms, but they will start to recede. However, Vernon County, maybe not. So we're tracking a few storms. We had one that went through just north of Nevada. That looked like a stronger storm, but nothing too severe. And then we had another storm. It was very strong at first. It is starting to diminish as we move into the later period of this 5 a.m. Hour. And we've got another system that we're tracking. We're expecting to strengthen as it moves into the Pittsburgh area, and even Joplin will be getting some rainfall with this as well. Now, if we take a look out, we're seeing all of these storms from South Oklahoma City. We're getting a lot of those in our area. They're under a severe thunderstorm watch. So we're going to keep an eye on those as they move closer to our region. And if they enter our region, we end up with any kind of warnings or watches. We will continue to update you guys. In just a bit, we'll have more details.
All right, we'll check in with you in just a bit, Lindsay. Well, Joplin High School junior will spend the summer participating in an MIT program. Christian Kavanagh will engage on a prestigious opportunity available to only about 80 students globally. It offers a 6 weeks residential experience aimed at introducing rising seniors to technology, engineering, and science in Boston.
It feels great because, again, you know, I have a passion for STEM, and I take a lot of time out of my day to practice STEM and to learn about STEM. And so, taking part in this program it really helps me truly know that, I have a place in STEM.
It's very rewarding because I feel like I've helped them a little bit.
Nearly 4,100 students applied this year, and academic records is one of the factors considered for acceptance. Kavanagh hopes the program will help him reach his goals of going to MIT for college and being a physics researcher. McDonald County High School joined forces yesterday with the national organization Meals of Hope to take up the fight against hunger. Students at the high school, members of the McDonald County FFA, and Meals of Hope worked together to provide 25,000 meals for people facing food insecurity in the area. The event kicked off with multiple shifts, allowing participants to contribute based on their availability.
Next year, I'd probably get the advertisement out earlier so that they know that it is what it is. I would probably say maybe someone in need that maybe is hungry that night. This is to help them with it and just help other people that are in need.
This is the second year of the event. All the meals packed will be distributed to students, families, and food pantries in the local area, including the food pantry in McDonald County High School. The Skill Resource Center yesterday hosted a customer and community appreciation picnic. This center supports independent living for people with disabilities, and the event provides a way to celebrate their clients and the community that supports them.
I think really it's about seeing that the disability community is out here and we are living in our own homes and we are part of our community and we are contributing to our community, to all the parts of what that means, So it's just good to get people out and let people see that, hey, we are a huge...
The Skill Resource Center is created by, driven by, and focused on people with disabilities, their families, and communities. It's not often you hear about a birthday party at a library or one for a cockatiel. That's exactly what happened yesterday at the Erie, Kansas Public Library. Bjorn celebrated his 20th birthday yesterday, though the library says he could be anywhere between 20 and 25 years old. He's become a staple at the library, alerting staff when someone arrives and playing with children who come in.
Bjorn is one of the few library animals around. I mean, there are a couple of libraries that have cats and that sort of thing. I don't know of another one that has a bird. And so Bjorn is kind of special. It's one of those things that he came, actually when I was interviewed for the job, one of the first questions was, will you keep Bjorn? So I wonder sometimes if that's how I got the job.
Attendees got to take part in some Bjorn-themed crafts. Well, it was a ladies' night at the Ace Hardware store in Miami, Oklahoma. The event gave women a chance to enjoy some food and drinks while shopping through a garden sale. It wasn't just for the store, though. All of the proceeds go to the Children's Miracle Network, which helps cover medical costs for families with kids in the hospital.
Even being able to do this. So it's really a collaboration, right? We have a lot of partners. We have a lot of vendor partners. We have vendors here cooking, and we have vendors here sampling stuff and doing giveaways. We had all of our raffle prizes were donated by vendors. All of the things in our goodie bags were donated by vendors, right? So we actually have a lot of support in doing these events.
There were also raffles and swag bags. And that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. Haiti's prime minister has resigned after gang violence continues to cripple Haiti and its government. Plus, Secretary of State Antony Blinken is in China after legislation demanded for the sale of TikTok. We'll have the latest. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
Partner of the St. Louis Cardinals.
Well, topping a world watch, Haiti's prime minister has resigned, setting a path for a new government. Ariel Henry announcing his resignation yesterday as rampant gun violence continues to cripple Haiti and its government. Calls for Henry's resignation have been growing since gangs took control of 80% of Port-au-Prince. A council who will be choosing the country's new prime minister was also sworn in yesterday. Haiti's Finance Minister Michael Patrick Bozevert will serve as the interim prime minister until that council votes on a new leader. Thousands of Jews gathered to pray for Israeli hostages during a blessing at Jerusalem's Western Wall. Worshippers held a traditional priestly blessing at the sacred site Thursday during the Jewish holiday of Passover. They also held a special prayer for the Israeli hostages held by Hamas in Gaza. Some family members carried posters of loved ones who are still in captivity. Worshippers covered in their prayer shawls also prayed for those Israeli military, those injured in the Israel-Hamas war, and the Jewish nation. Well, Secretary of State Antony Blinken is in China following this week's authorization of new aid for Taiwan and the signing of legislation demanding the sale of social media site TikTok. Senior national correspondent Rick Edson has the latest from the State Department.
Secretary of State Antony Blinken is in China to manage a relationship that has somehow only become more challenging over the past year.
We'll be dealing with areas where we have real differences with China, dealing with them directly, communicating clearly.
Just as Blinken set off for this trip to Shanghai and Beijing, the State Department issued its annual human rights report, accusing China of grave abuses, including genocide against Uyghurs in Xinjiang. And President Biden, who in November called Chinese President Xi Jinping a dictator, signed a bill providing billions to American allies to counter China and requiring TikTok's Chinese parent company to sell the app.
We've been clear about the substance of our national security concerns, and I have no doubt that these things will continue to come up.
China's government has threatened to block a TikTok sale. American officials say they will also press China to inhibit the shipment of deadly fentanyl chemicals to the U.S. Just last week, a House committee on China issued a report accusing the Chinese government of directly subsidizing those materials. Then there's China's support of Russia's manufacturing and accusations it's helping Vladimir Putin's war effort against Ukraine.
He was getting support for the Russian defense industrial base from China. And that is not lost on us.
The Chinese government has warnings of its own, especially on U.S. support for the self-governed island of Taiwan, which Beijing views as its territory.
Taiwan is China's Taiwan. The Taiwan question is at the core of China's interests and is the first red line that should not be crossed in China-U.S. relations.
The U.S. military says China is employing an increasingly aggressive campaign of coercion and pressure against Taiwan. Blinken will likely discuss that and more as he travels next to Beijing to meet with senior Chinese officials there.
And that's a look at some of your biggest headlines from around the world. We'll be right back.
Drop off your old car. Best used cars are only at Roper Honda.
All right, so we're tracking a few storms moving through the area. Right now, Joplin still is pretty clear. Had some rain earlier this morning. Now, we do have a tornado watch, not in our counties, but just south in Tulsa and just lining up to our counties. We're going to keep an eye on that storm system moving in. It's looking like it'll get here about 6:30, 6:45. Other than that, we still have a few flood warnings as well. Some of those end tomorrow morning and some of them end Wednesday. So we'll keep an eye on those as well, especially with all these rounds of rain that we're getting. Main threat this morning going to be heavy rain and hail, but we are looking at this storm system. It's got a tornado warning on it, radar indicated tornado or rotation, and it's going to be tracking through our southern counties in the next hour to hour and a half. We're going to keep an eye on that as well and see if it starts to die down or if it intensifies. Now, we've had a lot of rain move through, so that counties out in our northeast, especially Vernon County, they do have that flood warning issued, and a few more storms moving in to the western counties as well. Now, main threat, I'm looking at these storms in the south. They're starting to move in. We've got one ahead of that major storm. That's not going to be as strong. It will be moving through Pittsburgh and Joplin area in the next 15 to 30 minutes. It's going to drop a lot of rain, possibly light or small hail and fast winds as well. We're going to keep tracking these storms. Like I said, that main concern right now is just in Oklahoma City. So we're going to keep an eye on those as they continue to move through our area. We've got some severe threats. Wind being one of them, up to 60 miles per hour in some of these stronger cells. We also have a significant hail threat. We're in the hatch zone, so meaning we'll get hail about an inch to even golf ball sized hail this morning, and that'll increase this afternoon if storms do develop along the dry line. late this afternoon. And we have a tornado warning. This is an elevated risk for tornadoes, and an enhanced risk in some of those northern counties, and a hatch zone in the northern counties as well. So we'll keep an eye on that. We may expect a tornado or two this morning, but the main threat for large hail and tornadoes still for this afternoon. Now, this is a future track of what we're expecting to come through the area. We saw it pretty strong when it first moved in. This is about 8 a.m., then moving through Joplin, so dropping a lot of rain and even those fast winds, possibly hail in some of these stronger cells. That'll continue on, and it starts to develop along that line, moving through, and then about 11 a.m. we have another round of very strong storms pushing through. Now, later in the morning hours is when we're expecting some more low end to severe threat than we are right now, but we're going to keep an eye on that as they develop as well. And by noon to early afternoon, it'll start to shift off. Still some stronger storm cells, but it will start to shift off to the east. This is 2:30, and then we'll have a break. This is that dry line. We're expecting to have some storm development on it. And if these storms do kick off, they will produce a tornado or two. We're going to keep an eye on that, and very large hail. It'll only be a few storms. Like this morning, we've had a lot of rounds of rain and heavier scattered thunderstorms, but this will be an isolated thunderstorm or two passing through the area, which will be producing some pretty severe threats. We're going to keep an eye on that. That'll be early afternoon to late afternoon, and then clearing by later on this evening. So we have an alert day set for today, tomorrow, and Sunday. We are expecting some severe weather threats this morning and later end of this morning and this afternoon, and again Saturday night. That'll be overnight into the early morning hours on Sunday. So it's going to be a main concern for Saturday due to it being nightfall. And then again, we'll have an alert day set for Sunday. So stick with us. We're going to keep you updated. And if we have any tornado warnings or any watches in our area, we'll be sure to immediately alert everybody. Now, Elise will be back with more news after this.
Prearranged.com.
An educational program in Tempe, Arizona is helping kids learn and build confidence, one joke at a time. In addition to all the laughs, it also helps prevent bullying. Javier Soto introduces us to the Cool Kids Comedy Club.
How does that make you feel when everybody laughs at you?
Accomplished.
Accomplished? How come?
Because it's what I want to do.
For Cool Kids Comedy Club in Tempe, laughter is also a great teaching method.
I love laughing, and I wanted to give that to kids.
Kayla Howard is a comedian and former teacher. She's combining both of her passions to help kids learn and build them up.
I thought about a way to impact the community in a positive way through comedy, and I resorted back to my teaching experience and how much fun I had, like being in the classroom with kids. And I thought that Cool Kids Comedy Club would be like the perfect combination of, education, but also fun.
And there's plenty of fun at their classes, led by local comedians.
All right, what about his friend bit the mailman? What part of the joke is that? On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Twins! So really it's about learning in disguise. So we're teaching students essential life and literacy skills, but it's through comedy that we accomplish that.
So what does that look like?
So that looks like students working in small groups, so they're learning cooperative learning skills. That looks like students getting up in front of the classroom, that's enhancing their speaking skills. That looks like students being respectful and good audience members, that's listening skills. And then just again building up their confidence to really get up in front of the class and express themselves.
That confidence is already building in students Josiah and Cariana.
What do the rest of the students say when you start telling jokes?
They laugh.
They laugh? How does that make you feel?
Happy.
Who was the funniest person in the room? You? What made you funny?
I just acted funny.
But they are far from the only ones.
I've seen a lot of kids become more confident. Like in our January session, it was awesome because there was a kid in there who's like, nah, I don't get up in front of the class. I don't want to talk. But by the end of the class, he was reading his page and a half of jokes, and those are the stories that really keep me going, when knowing that kids are building up their confidence simply by being in Cool Kids Comedy Club.
Of course, I had to put their skills to the test.
Why did my dog be called Spicy Pumpkin?
How come?
Because she's a hot girl.
You gonna remember us when you are rich and famous?
No.
No.
Well, the 4-hour classes are held at Tempe Public Library. It's $50 per child and includes snacks and lunch. Stick around. We'll be right back.
How would you and your family like tickets to
food and so much more? Come on down to Landreth Park in Joplin for family-friendly fun.
People in Indianapolis are racing to get their city ready for the Indy 500. It's just over a month, and drivers will be starting their engines at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. But for now, drivers in downtown Indiana will start seeing some minor changes in preparation for the checkered flags. Indianapolis Motor Speedway President Doug Bowles started the celebration by changing some street signs in honor of the 108th race. The Indianapolis 500 is set to take place Sunday, May 26th. It's time to get your carbs on. Today is National Pretzel Day. Mark the day by snacking on one of America's favorite snacks, whether they are soft, crunchy, salty, or cinnamon. This food holiday was created in 2003 when Pennsylvania Governor Ed Rendell named April 26th National Pretzel Day. The state has a long history with the pretzel industry. The Pennsylvania Dutch introduced pretzels to North America in the 19th century, and it's still the epicenter of pretzel production in the U.S. In fact, the average Philadelphian consumes about 12 times as many pretzels as the national average.
So we're having a few strong storms already moving into the area. Right now, this system is not severe, but there are some strong storms. We're getting a lot of lightning and possibly some small hail as well. Now, we're also tracking another storm system that's moving in right behind it, but this looks like it's tracking towards Pittsburgh and even Joplin getting another round of rain as well. But this is the system I'm most concerned about. We've got a couple of tornado warnings issued for that storm with radar indicated rotation, and there's also a lot of lightning strikes. They are under a tornado watch, all of Tulsa and up to our counties as well, but this system heading straight towards our area are under a tornado warning. So we're going to keep updating you on that, and we're going to keep tracking that system specifically. And we've got a few others moving through along this line. The rest of the southern storms may just clip our area, but those northern storms, especially with the ones under the tornado warning, are going to be moving into our area within the next hour or so. We're going to keep you updated and bring immediate updates and alerts for that system.
Stream KOAM.